then when that doesn't work, you poke him in the eye with your stump. Punch a shark. What if he wasn't even going to attack you? What if he's just curious and he's swimming by and you go, what'd you do that for? I thought you were going to attack me. Yeah, I'm going to now. I was going to let you go, but the other sharks are watching. It doesn't look good now.
The late, great Robert Schimmel, talking about shark attacks. Florida remains the shark bite capital of the world. Not the United States. The world.
Is that the piercings or actual shark bites?
What is a shark bite piercing?
That's where you
Oh,
get,
like the disturbed guy with the hooks in the bottom?
Those are called snake bites.
Snake bites? Oh, I thought they were shark bites. Okay.
So as far as shark...
And they do look like snake fangs.
Yeah, that makes way more sense. Well, a shark bite is just a bunch of piercings, just willy-nilly all over the place.
All over your face. Yeah, Florida's a shark bite capital of the world, according to the International Shark Attack File, or ISAF. So, yeah, people who study these things, and the funny piece of data on this was that they talk about provoked and unprovoked shark bites. 11 fatalities worldwide, 9 unprovoked. And I was curious what a provoked shark attack is.
They're bullying the shark.
Bullying?
Yeah.
Oh.
They're talking about the shark's mom.
That fin makes you look fat.
I bet you taste good in soup.
Yeah.
How do those still... Actually, I had shark. Shark is pretty good.
I've had it too.
But how do you get bit by a shark? Isn't the lifeguard
The mouth.
No, dude, you're in the ocean. The lifeguard can't stop you from getting bit by a shark.
The lifeguard is one of the reasons, like, it screams, the lifeguard screams shark and everyone gets out of the water. Like, aren't they looking out for that?
What if it's underwater and they don't see it?
That's if someone notices that it's out there and people have enough time to get out. But I mean, the changes in the climate have also pushed sharks into areas where they would never be seen before. So that ups these. And Florida still remains the top in the world. And, you know, when they do studies on these, they have come to the conclusion that sharks, when they do bite people, they're kind of reticent about it, which tells marine biologists that sharks don't especially like the taste of people, so they're not trying to eat them. They just mistake them for
Usually
something
seals
else.
or something,
yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
Also, I just imagine Poundcake is a lifeguard. Like, don't you hear the Jaws music?
I feel like I would have PTSD from, like, if I seen a shark like close enough to where I could see it in the water, I wouldn't want to get back in the ocean. Like, I thought, obviously I know there's big fish in the water, but I didn't think they came close to shore. I thought if you got bit by a shark, you had to be, like, far out there.
No.
They come up towards the...
Well, there's people who are still, like, just, like, on the beach who have been bitten by sharks.
How?
Because what I just said, the climate in so many parts of the world has changed so much.
But how do you not see that, though?
Because it's underwater. You don't always... Do you think that you see a fin every time there's a shark nearby?
I guess I'm thinking of, like, a really big shark. I keep forgetting that there's, like, sharks that
it's like
are...
a 3-foot shark that'll do some damage.
You're thinking of movie sharks.
Yeah, I'm thinking like they
Jaws.
eat. Yeah.
They have to make them big because it's a movie.
Okay, I'm thinking of that size. I'm like, how would you not see that? But if they're small, like 3 feet, yeah, then yeah.
Think of like a drug dealer's shark, like that. Like people who have those exotic pets in big fish tanks. They don't have to be huge.
Tracy Morgan, he had a bunch of them. When he got all that Walmart money, he put a giant shark tank in his house.
Those can't kill you though, right? They just
But they can hurt you.
Yeah, if it depends on where it bites you. If it hits an artery, you're done. You're done.
I remember when I was a kid, Jaws was a book by an author named Peter Benchley, right? And they made it into a movie. Or vice versa. I don't remember which came first, the chicken or the egg.
I think the book was first.
Book was first. There you go. My mom had a copy of Jaws by Peter Benchley on a shelf in our house. And I was a young boy, because Jaws, boy, that came out in 76 maybe, so I was like 6 or 7 years old. And I remember the cover of the book of Jaws has a girl swimming, and everybody knows the famous Jaws poster from the cover of the book, where the shark is coming up and there's a naked woman swimming. And on the cover of the book, they didn't obscure her boobie under the water.
You saw a little nipple.
Dude, as a young man, I loved that.
That was so much.
Oh, it was the best.
It's so good.
First boobie I saw was on the paperback cover of Jaws.
Yeah,
That was great.
book came out in 74. The movie came out in 75.
There you go.
Wow, it's
Yeah.
that like old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
5.
Jaws
And
ushered
there-
in like the age of the blockbuster. Jaws and Star Wars, there weren't movies that big before that.
Wow.
My boyfriend and I, so we dated in 2019 for a little while, and then our first date back in 2020 when we got together the second time, we went to the drive-in and we saw Jars.
Jars.
We saw Jars.
That was a lot less
Jars.
scary.
Yeah.
Jars was, it was a family of,
Listen, I know a video of a jar that's very scary.
it was a family of picklers.
Yes. So we just saw Jaws and Jurassic Park. That was like the double feature. And
You mean
seeing
Jurassic Park with the sequel to Jars?
Jurassic-
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. It was just seeing on such a big screen how horrible the like animatronic shark was that it just made me laugh because I was like, I can't believe this scared me so much as a little kid. And now when you see it and you're like, oh, this is like so bad. It doesn't even begin to look real, this shark.
Oh, God, I remember begging my parents to take me to see Jaws 3D. They did Jaws, which was amazing. Jaws 2 wasn't that great. And then they did Jaws 3D, and it had Dennis Quaid, and it had, I remember what it was. But this, I just remember there was a scene where a guy gets his arm bitten off by the shark, and then they cut to the scene of the arm floating out at you off the screen. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Right, but then when Jaws is actually coming at you, it was so like
It sucked.
because Jaws wasn't even moving.
Right.
So it was just them like with like basically a photo of a shark just sliding it forward towards the camera. Yeah. Did not look great.
No, the 80s, that wave of 80s 3D movies, there was Jaws 3, there was a movie called Metal Storm that I loved as a kid. I was probably like 12. Terrible movie. The 3D wasn't that good. But they were trying all these 3D movies. And
There
you
was a 3D Friday the 13th too, right?
Yes, Friday the 13th part. If you got to a third if you got to a part 3, it was always 3D in the 80s.
Yeah.
That one sucked too. There was
Yep.
one cool scene where the harpoon comes at you, but other than that. All right, so let me move on to Mary, who did a backyard wrestling event last night.
It's not
And-
wrestling.
I'm sorry? You said backyard.
I didn't wrestle.
Oh. No, but I thought maybe you were providing
I
some
wrestled
humorous
for
accompaniment.
self-worth. I did that. No, it was so my my girlfriend that I'm staying with out here, she had this show and she was like, hey, you want to jump on this show with me Monday night? And I was like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. And so we didn't ask enough questions, and we are pulling up in a neighborhood, and she goes, oh no, I think this might be a house show. And I was like, do you want to get diarrhea real quick so we don't have to do this house show? And
Just go back and have some of the craft service they've put out, and that'll
Right.
take care of that.
so we went, and it was like set up in a backyard. It was a really great setup. Like they had done it right. They had like a curtain out, so it looked, they had a little stage with mics and everything. And it was great. And chairs set up in the backyard. It was great. We were judging a roast battle. So we were sitting outside. We weren't told that it was outside. So it was only like 50 degrees. So we're both in like thin sweaters and jeans. So it was freezing cold to be sitting outside for 2 hours in 50-degree weather, not equipped. And then, they're like younger comics who are roasting each other with it, which is fine. The thing I love about roasts is that you have to have well-written jokes. So I appreciate a well-written joke. So it's kind of fun, whatever, we're going to do it. What was very frustrating to me is that one of the other people on the panel was like, he was like in the scene, and he was like a TikTok guy, and like everybody knew who he was, and he was like this celebrity judge. So like everything he said and every like you look like joke that he threw out there got this huge like uproarious applause, and it wasn't, some of them weren't even that good. And then when it would get to like me, and I thought I had a very well written joke and it fell flat, it was, I'm like, and my friend Nicole even told me, she was like, it's because they don't know who you are. And I'm like, well, that's frustrating because my joke was better than his. But because they know who he is, he gets these like big, huge laughs. And it was just a very,
What's the TikTok guy's name?
I'm not going to do that.
I want to see what he does.
Because it doesn't
You
matter.
guys are on TikTok.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But it was, and he's like
I'm a
friends with
TikTok
those
guy.
people. I feel like I feel like he's been doing, this is purely speculation. I didn't talk to him very much. It seems like he's in this same scene with them, this like kind of up and coming scene, and he's starting to get a little bit of heat. So everybody knows who he is, and he's taking the next steps out into whatever's next. So everyone's like really into him and like rooting for him, and so everything he says.
Except
is, like,
you were doing the same gig he was, a backyard comedy show.
Right.
There's a hell of a lot more influencer comedy in LA, but you were still at the same show he was. So it's not like this guy's a supernova.
I'm not saying he was. I was frustrated that his not as well.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see.
Jokes were getting huge responses.
Yeah. Just because they know who he is.
Who he was.
Yeah.
Whereas I was like upset. I asked my friend, I was like, was I bombing? Like, I felt like I was saying some pretty funny stuff. And she was like, they just don't know who you are. They know who that guy was. So everything he said was a godsend. And then you got, kind of titters of a laugh.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating.
That's a weird situation to be in where the audience will laugh just because they know who you are and not because you're actually funny.
Yes.
Whereas, like, I feel like it's kind of the opposite here.
Yeah.
Like, they expect more from us. They'll be like, oh, Bill, so he said that. But, like, yeah, you somebody that comes out of nowhere, they're like, oh, who's this guy? I love them.
Yeah. And I will say that I am not delusional. I understand that everything I'm complaining about are just blows to my ego. That's all that it is. I feel like that's all that being out here has just been like one thing after another, reminding you that you are not special. Even if you are funny, it doesn't matter. If you are talented.
Not that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to those people right now.
You have to sleep your way to the top, Mary.
And
Did you say sleep my way to the top?
That's what he said.
You do.
Most people sleep their way to the middle.
Mary, listen.
Nobody wants my ranch body.
Listen. In LA, in Hollywood, sex is currency.
Mary,
if you don't have a lot of money.
Mary, will you please let Poundcake tell you how things work out there,
I'm just saying,
please?
If you don't have a lot of money, have sex with the right people, and you might go places.
Cody, what right people? And when's the last time you were in LA?
And when was the last time you heard of anybody super famous who got there by banging everyone?
Well, they don't talk about it.
Oh, really? Everybody talks about everything now, but they're keeping that under wraps.
They do.
Yeah,
NDAs.
sure.
Producers,
NDAs.
But yeah, it's just been one ego blow after the other, and it's just like, man, this sucks.
Huh?
And it is just me being spoiled and prissy,
and that doesn't. There's no part of that makes you that you can convert that into positive calories. I mean, there's no part of that where you go, okay, well, this is good. This is how you thicken your skin up and whatever you got to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you need to bomb and you need to do poorly, and you.
Well, I don't mean bomb. I mean like the.
You need to be put in check every once in a while. I think that's very important. But to me, what is frustrating is that I don't think this is the place for me because I pretty much only care about comedy. I don't really care about fame and fortune and all the things Cody wants. I want to be good at stand-up and respected for that. Drag you into it. You're telling me to sleep with people to become famous.
I said, yeah, so you could become famous. I didn't say I was going to
got your best interest in mind.
I'm telling you, sex is currency.
Yeah.
I forgot that Cody was my publicist, and I should be listening to him.
He didn't even write my public.
I thought you said Friday.
Last Friday.
No, you said next Friday.
No, it was last Friday because I said don't do it Thursday because I won't be on air.
Oh, see, I misunderstood. I thought you said this.
I got another show coming up.
You're already fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I'm already not a good publicist.
But yeah.
Well, I knew that.
You know what? You should have. Poundcake should have been your wingman out there.
Yeah, man.
Why didn't you come, Cody? How many times have you been asked that?
Well, after the
He's
antidepressant.
never been asked that.
After the antidepressant.
Man, she can go to LA and she can just get mean.
That's right. He's al dente.
That roast show last night, and then so like the first round of the roast show, so basically these two people go up and they roast each other. You kind of take notes on the good jokes, and then at the same time I'm like writing a joke about each person to kind of come in with like something funny to say, and then actually analyze their jokes and then pick a winner, right? And so the first set I kind of just wanted to see what was happening. I was like, okay, and then the second one I asked my girlfriend, I had never been on judge, and so I was like, I can get pretty mean, right? And she was like, yeah, absolutely, like that's the whole point. I was like, okay. So I'm like firing off these jokes, and they are mean and they are dark, but I'm like, we're at a roast show. Why are you all groaning? This is a well-written setup punch joke. That dude didn't say anything. He just did it in a gay voice, and you know who he is. So now you're happy and going crazy. It was just a very frustrating night.
What's a gay voice, Mary?
I'm not doing it.
Please.
Mary doesn't want to work with gay comics, Bill, is what she's trying to say.
Here we go.
Uh-huh.
No, he was like, over the top, like very showy and very loud and very just very annoying. He's a fine person. I shouldn't.
He's a fine person.
Because I don't know anything about the guy. I was frustrated with the audience response. I don't know anything about
Well, no one wants to touch my vagina.
But tell the truth, after all this, you went to watch a whole bunch of his TikToks.
Of course I did.
And?
I was like, it's fine. It's exactly what it is. And it's popular for that reason. He has found his people, and that's fine. I am never upset with the artist. I'm like, okay, maybe you're not my cup of tea. Maybe you're not funny. I'm not mad at you for curating your audience. I'm mad at the audience for not being smarter.
Always a great way to build a career in showbiz. Get mad at the audience. Contempt for the audience. Always a solid pivot.
That's what it is.
It's like yelling at the audience when they don't laugh. It's always a good move.
Yeah.
You guys
Sometimes
don't
it
know
is.
funny.
Yeah, right. You guys don't know what this killed in some other place.
Right, and then you just look so desperate. And
Of course.
And that's even more frustrating.
Yes, because they don't care.
They don't care.
No.
And then when you're like, oh, so I guess just nobody's going to laugh, then they don't like you more.
Who would say that?
No one's gonna laugh.
And then I'm mad at myself for even saying it out loud, for making myself look so desperate. And I'm
Oh,
like,
you
this
did
is
say
awful.
that out loud.
No, at one point,
You said, oh, no one's going to laugh at that?
Okay, here's the
Oh, no.
Oh, I want to go witness this now. I'm gonna, you know what, Mary? I'm gonna go book a flight for the rest of the week.
We're at a roast show, okay? The point is to be mean. That's the whole point, is to be mean to these people, to be mean to one another. That's what a roast show is, okay? So at one point, this guy's getting roasted, and the other comic said that his brother had died in a car crash. That had come up somehow. And this particular comic, whose brother died in a car crash, didn't do very well in the roast battle, okay? So I said something to the effect of, I asked him, I was like, hey, did your brother really die? And he was like, yeah. And then I was like, well, at least your parents only had to see him die once. It seems like you do it every time you're on stage.
Right?
That is a good roast joke. That is a good, mean thing on exactly what a roast show should be. And the audience like gasped and like couldn't believe that I had said that. And that's when I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Are we not on a show where we're supposed to be mean to each other? And then when I said that, they got like even more uncomfortable with me. And I was like, I can't win. Like I've already backed myself into a corner. There's no explaining my way out of
What
this.
did the
I'm
guy
just gonna
say?
sit here.
Did you tell him you're on this show?
I'm looking at, do you know who I am? I'm the third chair on the Alan Cox Show. Thank you. No, but so that was like, I felt like that was a pretty good, pretty mean joke.
It was.
And nobody liked it.
So
And
what?
it made me
But
mad
but did it
because
match
they
the
were
tone
of the roast show? Yes.
of the rest of what everybody else was doing, or were you going way darker?
I wasn't going that much darker.
What if the other flamboyant guy had done the same joke? Do you think they would have laughed?
Because his jokes weren't as good.
Hey, Alex, if he had done your joke.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He made a joke about the dude who he had on a red hat, and he made some Mario joke that people lost their minds about.
They go,
And I
hey,
was
that's
like,
a
come
pop
on.
culture reference I recognize.
Mario.
Hey,
Oh.
Mario.
Sorry.
And this is
Cantone or
Hold on, we're
Lopez?
trying to laugh about Mario here, Mary. Stop.
Mary. Oh, my God. Mario, Cantone or Lopez?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh.
No, Mario. That's his name.
Oh, that is good. That is
I'm
good.
thinking, I'm like, oh, okay, if they laughed at that, man, I'm gonna get an applause break. This is gonna be huge. And then they're, oh, I can't. And you know what, too, though, I gotta think, if he's part of the scene and they all know him, and I'm just some out of towner, it was probably like a how dare you? We don't.
You
know
didn't earn your
you.
right to.
Yeah, I guess.
You're
I
like
don't
the
know.
new, you can't make inside jokes your first week on the job in the new office. You know what I mean? Yeah,
include me in the joke then.
Marge is a whore, right? And everybody's like, dude, you just started yesterday.
That is what that was. Very much
Marge
that.
is going through a tough time.
Marge is having a hard time since Dan died.
You know who you were? You were Andy when he joined the Scranton branch, where you
Yeah.
were trying to fit in so hard
I
that
know, but
everybody's
I'm
like,
not even trying to
what's
fit in
going
that
on?
part.
You were just
It's
trying to do
not-
material, yeah.
I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
They said, hey, this is a roast show. Be a little funny, say a couple jokes, and pick a winner. And so I'm doing roast jokes and what I think is something that would work. and it didn't, and then I got mad, which that's where I messed up.
I would think you would appreciate a gasp. Sometimes a gasp is great.
Yeah, that means you've got their attention.
Not a gasp when they pull back on you.
Yeah, let them pull back.
Yeah, but were they with you? Made it sound like they weren't even with you up till that. You got nothing to lose.
I was doing fine.
Oh.
I wasn't killing. I wasn't like annihilating. I was doing fine. But I let it get in my head that a comic or jokes that were not as funny to me were doing better than the jokes that I thought were better because
they were
of
yours.
who he was. And that was
And who was he on TikTok?
me. I'm not saying it. And my friend
His name's Mario on TikTok.
my friend Nicole was like, that's what it is out here. She's like, it doesn't really matter what you're saying. It matters who's saying it. And I'm like, well, that sucks. I
Yeah,
don't
it
like that at
does.
all.
Yeah.
What?
I just things that I've talked about. I feel like we've said to you before, and it
We've never
sucks.
said this. We've never covered this.
We talked about when I've gone to LA and I didn't like it because I feel like these conversations have been had.
Whatever. Well, it wasn't about me, so I wasn't listening.
So how
You're fitting in LA. You'll be fine.
so how did this gig culminate?
It was just my friend was already on it, and she was like, hey, do you have a gig Monday night? And I was like, no. And she's like, okay, come, I'll get you on this one. You can come do this with me.
No. How'd the whole thing end up? Like,
Culminate. I didn't know what that word
Who
meant.
won?
Who won? There were different rounds, so there were 5 winners.
Okay. Well, yeah.
But it was fine. It was fine. I got a message from the girl who booked this girl who booked it. God, I got to read it to you because it made me laugh. She said, Mary, you were so effing funny and mean. That was rad last night. Thank you for joining us and hanging out with us in the LA comedy scene. So I'm like, the fact that she had to throw in, you were so funny and mean. And I was like, okay, so maybe I was just the outsider who was taking it a little bit too far. But it's like, then don't book me to judge a roast show. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're all going to die alone.
I like this new Mary.
Me too.
I'm gonna be honest.
Finally, she has figured it out. This is her epiphany.
I hope it is dying.
This is her epiphany.
Come back.
The dreamer I was 48 hours ago.
Now, the second phase of this, by the way, is to take all of that pragmatism and realization and remove it from the nihilism. You can still make things happen, but realizing that none of it matters. None of it matters. That's the sweet spot. Not we're all going to die alone. I mean, the sweet spot is it doesn't matter. Let's party.
Yes.
Or whatever, I mean, yeah. You're still doing what you want to do.
Whatever.
Right,
And
and
that's
like-
the other thing. I'm out here. It's beautiful weather. I'm hanging out with friends. I'm broadcasting with you guys. Like, it is still a wonderful week. I really shouldn't be complaining, but it is.
It's 34 degrees here, Mary.
68, baby.
Yeah.
I
I got
got
23.
Huh?
I got 23 over here.
Yeah, well, my monitor is inside, so it's probably a little warmer when it
10
shows me.
degrees warmer.
Yeah, when it shows me the temperature. Yeah, I have 23 on my digital application as well. All right, listen, let me take a break here. I'll have Wasp tickets for you. They're on their 40th anniversary tour. They're going to play the Agora in November with Armored Saint. So if you go all the way back with them, I'll hook you up after the break. 35192 to text. Next chance for you to grab $1,000. That keyword to go fund yourself is coming up at 3:30.